and welcome to Interface. This is episode 15. My name is Matt Murray, and I'm joined as always with James Farley. How's it going, James?
Pretty good, Matt.
Awesome. You've had a bit of a big week, haven't you?
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff happened. I finally finished my doctorate, which was good, and
That is amazing. So what's that? That's like first 4 years of solid work to get to and to get to where you are today. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was it's 4 years of just of mostly pain, but it's kind of worth it now. I feel pretty happy about it.
So now you're officially Dr. Farley.
Not yet. I've got to wait for it all to go through all the paperwork and all, etc. And then it will happen. So that's good.
That's amazing. So your letters are going to start saying Dr. Farley.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm going to completely abuse this. I'm going to be using it all the time. It's
You going to change your Twitter handle?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, it's
yeah. Well, at least change your name on Twitter about it. I think it's the only anything you can do right now.
I might get verified. Yeah, you never know.
You should mention that. You apply and say, look, I'm a doctor now, so give me that blue tick. Mm. Cool. Well, I haven't become a doctor this week. In fact, I've done very little. But there's plenty of things to talk about. The first of which we're going to talk about is Elon Musk's plans to colonize Mars. Mm-hmm. Did you watch this? Did you watch the presentation? It was this week. I think it was last Wednesday. I think it was. Did you watch the presentation?
Well, I watched first of all, I watched the catch up because I didn't see it live. But then I really wanted to see the whole thing, so I watched the whole thing as well.
Yeah, I watched it live, and I knew it was going to happen on that evening, and I was quite excited about it. And I made sure I was doing washing up that night, and so my wife was watching TV. I was watching this whilst washing up, and it was so amazing. I kept going to the lounge, much to my wife's sort of annoyance, saying like, "You're watching EastEnders. You should be watching this. This is like an incredible moment. At least I felt it was like an incredible moment. Like this guy is trying to get us to go to Mars and colonize Mars and live on Mars, and you're watching EastEnders, worrying about what's happening in the Queen Vic. I mean, clearly I've come from a different angle, but I just thought, why isn't everyone on the internet talking about this? Like I didn't. It's a bit disappointing that it wasn't massive. This thing should be like front page news, but it just wasn't. But it's a pretty impressive presentation.
Yeah, I mean, I found it absolutely fascinating, and I want to believe. Like, I really want to believe that all this stuff is possible and that it could happen. But I mean, did you have any concerns about it at all though? Like any questions?
I had lots of concerns. Actually, before we go any further, I just want to say for any listeners that we're not going to go into all the details and all the sort of technical information about this presentation because we're not scientists, and it'll take too long and we'll get everything wrong. Suffice to say, Elon Musk has a plan or some sort of plan to get us over to Mars and this that, and the other. But if you want more information, there's links in the show notes if you want to hear and read actual information about how he plans to do it. So we're not going to go into that technical detail as much as I wish I could. But I mean, I want to believe, I mean, in the presentation, Elon Musk said, we can go to Mars and it's fine, we've just got to warm it up.
Yeah.
He didn't really go into more information about how he's going to do that, did he?
Well, did you? No, he didn't, but have you heard some of the plans?
Which is a major concern.
Well, there's a lot of things that he didn't really go into detail. I mean, one of the biggest concerns that I've got about that is that there's no air on Mars, as in, like, not breathable air. And he didn't really talk at all about how we're actually going to live there. Like, there was no idea about that at all. But
I mean, an awful lot of airlocks. In every shopping mall we go over, there's just airlocks everywhere, and then just everyone obviously have the spacesuits on. It's apart from that, it'd be like normal real life.
But I mean, have you heard about his plan for warming everything up there? Like the idea?
No, because he kept mentioning that, and then he didn't actually mention it on stage. Or if he did, I must have missed that bit. But how does he intend to warm up the entire planet?
Well, you see, I did some sort of cursory look and see, what he said before, and apparently it involves basically nuking Mars several times in the different hemispheres.
Didn't mention that in the presentation.
Yeah, no, I've heard that the
idea
idea is
to mention the nuclear explosions.
No, the idea is to nuke Mars on each pole, and that this will then cause all the ice to melt, and then things will warm up. This is he said there was going to be multiple explosions over the thing. This is this is one of the ideas for this.
Right, so basically nuke Mars.
Yeah.
Wait a few years, I presume. I mean, is there a nuclear winter if there's no air? I don't know how that works, but
I don't know. But you've definitely at least got a problem of radiation, which is pretty major.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because he was talking about multiple explosions as well, not just one or two. He said they were going to keep hitting it. It's yeah, it's kind
Oh
of
my
interesting.
god, he really is like someone from a movie. From that, like, I'm just going to keep nuking Mars, then we'll go live there.
But I mean, you see, my main
Yeah,
concern with a lot of that stuff was that he talked a lot about, like getting there, but then he also talked about how, we can construct cities there. And,
yeah,
like, the stuff that he talked about constructing on the scale that he mentioned on Mars in an atmosphere that isn't really suitable for humans, we can't even do that stuff on Earth really easily at the moment. And this is the only thing that, like, I just thought.
What sort of stuff is he saying that he can construct? Because when I was watching it, he was like, "Look, don't worry, everyone. We're going to have shopping malls. We're going to have pizza joints." He was like, he kept saying, "Oh, it's going to be really, really fun."
Yeah, he kept on saying, he kept on talking
zero...
about. Well, that was one of the funniest things when he talked about the gravity, because he just said, "Oh yeah, it's like 1/3 the gravity on Mars, so that'll be fun. You'll be able to like, sort of jump
lift
around
really
and
heavy
stuff,
things.
lift heavy stuff." But then, like someone else said, is the problem with that is that we don't know how that will affect the human body because of like what it does to your bone structure and like muscle mass and everything.
Yeah.
It's but you see, I really don't want to sound really negative about this, but you know what I'm like. It's like as soon as as soon as I heard this,
it's easy to be negative against this, I guess.
It's like I started like thinking of like picking all holes in stuff, and it's which I don't really want to do because I really really want this to happen because I see space travel is something that actually I really care about, and it's something that I really hope is going to happen. The main reason for that is that I really think that it's part of what we are as what it means to be human is exploration. It should be something we should be doing. We should be trying to sort of better ourselves, advance things, and trying to get out there. But I don't know. He's very fuzzy about a lot of the details. Is one of the problems.
Yeah, he's a terrible speaker, isn't he? I mean, it sounds like he doesn't rehearse. I'm going to presume he does rehearse, but it sounds like he's just making up as he goes along on stage. He's not a very confident speaker, and then he suddenly goes into like ridiculous detail. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this whole thing is absolutely fascinating. I've loved space since I was really, really young. I used to have this massive like space book, and I was just looking at the pictures all day of the moon and Saturn and Jupiter and stuff. The whole thing is absolutely fascinating. So I definitely want to believe, and I do believe. I'm just not sure when it's going to happen. I mean, I think he said it within the next 40 to 100 years.
No,
it's just.
It's even more ambitious than that, because the 40 to 100 years was how long he thought it would take us to build a civilization on Mars, not just getting there.
Right, okay, yeah, because I saw something on the timeline originally for like 2023. Is that when he thinks we're going to go off to Mars?
That's when the first ship's going to fly there, apparently. That's what they're going for. And that's quite ambitious, seeing as like SpaceX hasn't even, as far as I know, it hasn't even like launched anything into space yet. It's because they've been trying to perfect the whole like landing techniques and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, they've delivered stuff to the International Space Station,
but not into like deep space though. Well, not deep space, but not into the solar system.
I mean, yeah. So I presume the ISS is still just outside of atmosphere, but yeah. So they've done that. They haven't gone much further. I mean, the whole the how we're going to actually like get in space and have enough fuel to get there is fascinating. So the plan is basically going to like launch a booster with a ship attached to it from somewhere in America. I'm going to presume it'll like launch out into the atmosphere, and then those two bits will detach. The booster lands back on Earth, just like all the Falcon 9 tests that have been done recently, where they've been landing the booster back on barges in the middle of the ocean or in the desert and stuff. So they're going to land this booster. They'll attach another pod, I guess, another ship to this booster, and they keep doing that. I think each booster can do like 9 or 10 goes, and then they'll change the booster and basically keep doing it. And then he said at one point, we'll basically have enough. I'll basically have like 1,000 ships in the just outside our atmosphere, and then they'll go en masse as a massive space fleet towards Mars, which I thought was incredible. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. It's like Battlestar Galactica. I love the fact this guy is like talking about all this stuff, and then he just drops in like sort of nerd jokes and but then also extreme sort of technical space travel sort of information. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating.
But no, I mean, I think because what it was supposed to do is, I think first of all it takes up people, like in the in like the module that's that module, and then it goes back down, and then it picks up the fuel, which it then takes back up. And then docks with the main ship that's in orbit,
right?
Then refuels the ship, and then the ship can continue like on the journey. Because that's why they said like if they want to do it with like 1,000 ships, they'll need like 1,000 launchers. which is like,
yeah.
it's again, I don't want to sound like this is crazy because I really think it sounds very interesting, but it does sound like quite a challenge that they've got on their hands.
It is definitely crazy. It absolutely. I mean, I thought about this for a long time with other things around space, but I just so wish I was born in like 40 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I've been born at the wrong. I was born at the wrong time when like the space race sort of ended and people gave up, and now it's starting to get interesting again. You know, is it going to happen in our lifetime? I mean, am I going to be able to afford it? I mean, one of the other fascinating things was the price. He said currently, if you wanted to take someone to Mars, if we had the rockets and stuff to go now, it cost like $10 billion per person?
Yeah.
But they feel like they can get it down to, they feel like basically they can get down to 500,000, and within a few years they can get down to 140,000, which is, as I said, the median age. The median price, of a mid-range house in America. I think that's what it said.
It was 200,000. No, it's 200,000. I think.
Oh, okay, $200,000. Yeah. So I guess I've got a fair few years to save up $200,000. But
but also the other
the whole
thing
story is just amazing. Go on.
Well, because the other thing he neglected to mention is, like once you get there, if you're like one of the first people, like, you're going to have to help with constructing like the whole colony and that kind of stuff. And there's a pretty good chance you could die as well from doing that, because we don't know what's there or like really, or how to do any of this stuff. It's
he said like the first two ships have to bring up the what's it called, like the metal, basically the mining equipment. And you're right. The first people have to go up and do all the mining and start constructing these pizza joints and shopping malls. Oh yeah, and also like it's like ore. It's like the metal ore. I think it's like mining for, I don't know, if I'm mining for stuff on Mars. Clearly, it's gonna power these ships and stuff. It's amazing. I mean,
that was one of the things he said that was quite funny, where he was like, there'll be lots of job opportunities because yeah. But no, it does sound fascinating, and as I said, I really hope something comes from this, because it does look interesting. But then,
I mean, he's the only one doing it, and he said that every penny he makes now, like everything he's doing is doing and to make money just for this SpaceX mission. Like I presume, he's referring to all his solar city, like solar panel stuff, all the stuff he does with Tesla. Everything he's doing now, he's just doing it to make money to pay for this. Pay for this mission to Mars, and it's absolutely fascinating.
But yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I just hope he delivers on it. I mean, I know some people. You always hear this thing about people saying about like Tesla cars, how they're still waiting for stuff, and it's he promises a lot, but I mean, he does usually deliver. It's just that sometimes it's late and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know.
One of the other fascinating things is that basically it's going to only take between sort of 110 or 150 days to get to Mars.
Yeah,
like which is super quick compared to what people have been predicting. How long it take now.
Well, he said at some point it could be 80 days, which is like not very long at all. And you're just wondering how is that going to happen? I mean, he did start to go into the detail on the specs for like the rockets and everything. But I'm not a rocket scientist, so I have no idea if what he's saying is correct or not. But I don't know.
He said the only way we can do it is if we refuel in space, and that's what that thing we spoke about a bit ago is going to do. But he didn't. I can't even go into too much detail about how he's actually going to get us over there in such a short space of time.
But still, super awesome, and I hope that we're going to see more space stuff, because there needs to be more space stuff.
If you had the money, would you do it if you had the money?
Absolutely, I'd do it. I think it'd be really interesting to do something like that. Yeah,
I mean, I absolutely definitely would. I mean, obviously you got to think, hey, that's basically me saying goodbye to like friends, family, my daughter, my wife, and I discussed this in the office, and people are like, well, clearly the answer is going to be no. But I've got the opportunity to do that. I probably would. I mean, if they said, Matt, do you want to go to Mars? I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to say no, in all honesty. I mean, I've loved space. Like films like Interstellar, sort of are so inspiring and so amazing. Like, I watched Interstellar and I was in a daze for for hours afterwards, just thinking about the possibilities and all that stuff. But I think I'd have to go. But
I'll tell you what,
just need to save up.
That CGI video that they did as well, like when it got into space and all the music went kind of like Mass Effect.
Oh god, yeah, I was tearing up.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, Elon Musk, please. I hope he does this. I hope something happens within our lifetimes. I'm not just too old at that point to not do it. But it'd be amazing to think that in our lifetimes, maybe we'll see like people in the news, going off to Mars and hopefully coming back. Who knows?
Becoming miners, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just doing the Minecraft thing, but full time. A world away from Mars. Is Planet Google, and they have got an announcement or a show, on October 4th, where they're going to basically unveil loads of new hardware. And from all the rumours I've read and seen and heard about this excites me much more than the Apple event.
Mm-hmm.
Before we start recording, I said to myself, just don't mention the A word. We're not going to mention Apple once, but that's going to be my only mention. I promise. But yeah, so Google going about announce loads of stuff. Probably the biggest rumour about this announcement they're going to do on the 4th of October is that they're going to basically create a new operating system, which is basically Android and Chrome OS combined.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. The senior vice president in charge of Android, he's also as well as this guy is in charge with Android, he's also in charge of Chrome OS and Google Play. It's I'm going to botch this, but I think it's Hiroshi Luckheimer. It's the company's senior vice president in charge of Android, Chrome OS, etc. He tweeted at the end of September, he said, "We announced the first version of Android 8 years ago today. I have a feeling 8 years from now we'll be talking about October 4th, 2016. So that's obviously a massive sort of tweet that says that October 4th is going to be a fairly big day in Android's history.
So are they saying this is going to be a desktop and tablet affair, or is this going to like revolutionise like mobile as well?
I mean, the rumours are basically that there's going to be this new tablet, and that's going to be powered by what people are dubbing Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's obviously just something that people come up with. But yeah, the rumour is this going to be a tablet. A tablet is going to have this new operating system, which merges Android and Chrome OS. I mean, I'm going to assume this is going to be like an iPad Pro type thing. Yeah, but obviously they've had their Pixel laptops in the past. I guess it could be a new one of those with this new operating system.
But I mean,
who knows? It's going to be interesting.
Don't you think this is a bit? Is it a bit like? Is there room for another operating system like this? Because I mean, the thing is, you see, like with tablets are not really doing like that well these days, like compared to how they were, and most of them that you do get that are like non-Apple ones are just running Android, and people seem pretty happy with that. But I mean, like where I work, I never see like people using Android tablets ever. I see more Surfaces than those, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think it definitely is a position. I mean, I think I keep mentioning Apple, but sorry, Apple have been super slow on this, and I think they're going to rue the fact that they are too slow. Because I think what Android could do here is that they could basically, create this new operating system, which I think will do what people wanted the iPad Pro to do, to have a different, unique operating system that's geared more towards productivity that the current iOS is doing for iPad Pro. I feel like Google could come in and create this new operating system which is more complex. It's not built for everyday sort of tablets that you or your grandparents use on the couch just to go on the web. This is a much more complex OS, but it borrows and learns from a lot of stuff that people have been doing on mobiles for a long time. I mean, obviously Apple has macOS and it has iOS, and I feel like this could be Google's version of macOS, for the desktop, but if they put it on the tablet as well, the tablets can be much more productivity devices than they are currently. I think there's definitely an opportunity for Google to do something really, really interesting in this space. Actually,
bang on! Aren't you just describing Windows 8, basically? Like what they tried to do with that?
Yes, but no. Well, I guess so. But this will be Windows, and I mean this will be Android, so therefore it will be automatically better, I guess, than that. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely an opportunity for something quite interesting here.
Mm.
Who knows?
I don't know. I'm just a bit sceptical because I still think having like really separate operating systems for different tasks is probably the best way to go. To be honest, I still think that's a good way because I mean, I've used I used iOS as like a main, like for my main device, like on an iPad, like a few years ago, and it was okay. You can kind of get around it. And I know what you're saying, that like if they add more sort of like productivity features and everything to it, maybe it can be like it can go further than iOS has done. But I don't know, because I mean, I've used the iPad Pro a lot, and yeah, that's not bad. It's okay, but I still wouldn't want to use it instead of a MacBook, or or like a Dell or whatever.
Yeah, or Dell. Yeah. But I feel like again the other Apple rumors, they're gonna start updating updating iOS in March or so for iPad. So in around March time, or mid year, they'll give much more iPad productivity features to iOS to make it much more usable for iPad Pro users. And I feel like Google can come along and create its OS that basically does that, and it is built for these. Maybe a Pixel laptop or a new productivity tablet device, just like the iPad Pro, but for Android. I feel like they could do something quite interesting.
It could work, but it also depends on support as well, like what apps they're going to get and stuff like that. Because if you're looking at productivity, that's always the issue, isn't it, with Android? Well, if you're looking at productivity, you need more than just like Google Docs. Like, you really do. Like, you need, because like a lot of institutions, a lot of like companies, they don't just use Google stuff. They also use like Microsoft and like Office and stuff like that, and you need that on there. Mind you saying that, I mean, you've got Office on Android already. Like, it is there in the same way as it is on iOS. So I guess it just depends. Have you got apps like, I mean, again, my knowledge isn't great, but have you got apps like Photoshop, for instance? On what? On which device?
On Android.
I don't know.
I know there's a version on iOS, but I'm not sure if there's one on Android or whatever.
I'm sure somebody will tell us.
If you do, a tweet is at InterfacePod. I'm fairly sure someone out there is probably using Photoshop on Android if it is out there. But I think that's arguably the biggest rumor about this event, and that's the thing that excites me the most, I think. But does other rumors? What other ones have you seen that you're interested in?
Well, there's two things that interest me. One thing was the Google Wi-Fi, which that interests me. I mean, you've seen about this.
Is it just like a new router?
It is, but it's following the same. You've heard of Aero, yeah?
I've heard of Aero. Yeah,
it's like the multi-point system, whereby you have like a main router, but then you have like others around the house that that boost the signal, or rather it works a lot better. This interests me because my house is terrible Wi-Fi. It's it's really, really bad. And I think if they can bring something else out that's going to be competitively priced, then I'd be very interested in that.
But they've already brought up, didn't they bring out that Google On Hub router?
They did, yeah.
They've already bought.
But that's not like a multi-point system. Like, it's only, it's only, I mean, it's supposed to be a very, very good router, but again, it's just like, a single device. The whole point of this is that you stick them everywhere, and then you can always get really good coverage, which is good. Yeah,
I should get a better router. I'm still using like the bog standard sort of Sky one, and it's fine, but I know if I just bought like a decent Belkin from a shop, it would probably get a lot better reception. Yeah, but I haven't got any issues with reception in my house. I just feel like I could probably improve the speeds, definitely.
Mine's terrible. I mean, I disabled the Wi-Fi on, because we got BT, and I disabled it on there because it was useless. It was really, really terrible. And I got like an Airport Express, which I then run with an Ethernet cable to another room where it gets like better coverage of the house, but it's still not that great. I mean, if you're in the same room, it's great, but if you just go into another room, it's terrible. I mean, I've got a personal theory about this, because the house I live in is built in a certain era, and I've got a feeling that there's chicken wire in the walls. This is my,
what era was the house built in?
not that long ago, but it's no, because that they used to put like metal in the walls, to like reinforce the structure.
Right. Okay.
And I've got a feeling that that's what they've done. Like, this house has that, and so that's why the Wi-Fi is so terrible, because it's
it's a chicken coop. It's a chicken wire house.
Yeah, and it's basically disrupting the signal. That's my theory anyway.
That's your tin hat theory.
I need to get a metal detector to find out, because I'm not going to start just hacking the walls down.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see. Oh, you definitely seem like the metal detector type. I can't believe you haven't got one already.
Spending, somewhere in the
evenings
garage
on the beach.
I'll have a look around. If I can find one.
I bet you've got at least two in there. There's a router. One of the other rumors is to give it a 4K Chromecast, which is cool. I mean, I haven't got a Chromecast, but I've got Apple TV, so I'm cool there. Don't really need that. Google Home is the other big rumor that they're going to announce a Amazon Echo, smart speaker. I think one of the rumored prices was about $130. That was what some people have worked out, or the rumored price, either way. They showed off Google Home when they announced it, didn't they? At I/O back in May. And I'm assuming it's just it's going to be OK Google, and it'll be the usual sort of smart speaker stuff. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got an Amazon Echo. They are actually out in the UK now, finally. But I've got too many other things to buy this month, so I haven't got one. But I really do want one. But it'd be interesting to see what this is like. And again, once again, Apple is last to market. Again, that's helped them in the past. They've come out last and often produce the best products. But once again,
in this case,
Amazon are doing it really, really well, and no one probably expected Amazon Echo to do as well as it is. But everyone raves about how good that is. The Google Home, it's going to be probably one of those things where it's announced and it's out the following week. So, this interests me. But I guess I have to see what they do. I mean, are you in the market for a smart speaker? Are you fascinated or interested by these things?
The thing is, like you just said about like Apple will be like last to market with this, and often that works out well. But I really don't think it will work out well in this case, because whatever they're going to do is going to be running Siri. And Siri is still really not that great. Like it's
it's rubbish.
It pretty much is rubbish, yeah. And it's so I mean, yeah, I don't really have a huge amount of interest in this, but I mean the Google one would definitely interest me more than than Amazon one does, purely because of the amount of data they've got on you and how useful that probably would be. But then that's like a double-edged sword. Like, do I really want to give them more of like my data through this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't care. I mean, I know Facebook, and I know everything tracks me wherever I go, and so I really don't mind. It's too late to. I'll have to basically cut myself off the internet if I was really concerned about people, companies, understanding me and getting data on me. So I'm definitely past that. I mean, OK Google is brilliant on Android. It's absolutely fantastic at the times I've used it. Everyone raves about Amazon Echo and how good Alexa is. So I'm really interested to see this product come out and see how it compares, and then maybe I'll make a decision about which one I buy after that. Yeah, it looks interesting. $130 will be 130 quid, which will put it slightly cheaper than Amazon Echo, which is £150 over here.
Maybe I've just never really given these a chance because Siri is so rubbish. And it's like, you kind of get burned by that because you try and use it and you think, yeah, okay, this sometimes it kind of works okay, but it still doesn't feel like completely natural. Like even like with Sierra that came out recently, like it's got, it's got like Siri built in, but I've never used it because you have to speak really precisely to it, like to get what you want out of it. And I don't know, it doesn't really interest me so much, but maybe a Google one would.
Yeah, I've used so in the new Mac OS, which came out last week. Yeah, Sierra it's called. That's got Siri built in. I used it once and it didn't find what I wanted, and I probably won't use it again. But no, I mean, Google Home and all that sort of smart stuff is really interesting. But I guess save for the new combined Android and Chrome OS rumor, the other big one is the Pixel phones.
Yeah.
That there's already been leaked pictures, but these are basically Google's new Nexus devices. I guess they're going to maybe, potentially retire the Nexus range, and the rumor is that they're going to show us new Google Pixel and Google Pixel XL. They're both 5-inch and a 5.5-inch display phones. Could be made by HTC. I mean, there's a leaked pictures out so far, and they look just like white smartphones. There's not really a lot to say about the images, but have you got? You said you had something to say about these phones.
Well, no, because this does actually interest me. These phones do, because I mean the leaked shots do look like they are just going to brand them as like Google phones, as in like Pixel and Pixel XL, like you said, like made by HTC, I guess. But I don't know. You see, the thing that's always put me off Android phones is the way that unless you buy a Nexus phone, then you're buying something from another manufacturer. And I don't know how it is now, but it used to always be that they used to skin them with their own version of Android, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely the case, although people like Samsung have been, they're getting a lot smarter in the skinning. The skinning's got minimal, but it's more the bloatware that comes with it.
Exactly. It's like there's all like the crapware that you get with it that that, you see, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that really pisses me off, and like it really puts me off from from getting one.
See, that stuff's never put me off. The thing that's put me off most is that unless you buy a Nexus device, it's the updates, the lack of updates. You know, if you buy, Samsung Galaxy Note and it doesn't blow up, but within 2 years you probably will stop getting updates. So you basically got to buy Nexus devices, and now you have to buy the Pixel devices, which isn't an issue. It's just that's something you got to be quite mindful of. If you do want to buy an Android device.
I just remember what it was like when I had like Windows computers before, and you'd like buy it, and then the first thing you have to do when you got it home was like either wipe it or whatever, or just like spend ages like uninstalling all like the rubbish that comes with it. And it's just, that stuff, it's really irritating. If there is something that is just pure Google, it would interest me, and it may persuade me to swap, like depending on pricing and everything, because they look nice phones, and if it's just pure Google and you get updates as well, like you said, because it's never been that well known for getting updates, like a lot of devices.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely interested to see what they do with these. I mean, if it's just a pure Google phone, that's definitely a great proposition to have. Who knows? I mean, I wonder, because the Nexus devices they've never been, well, they've always been a lot cheaper than, say, the Samsung devices, and then therefore they've never been the top quality devices. Again, people would assume Android now is Samsung. Samsung is Android. So Google are probably doing this because they're concerned maybe of Samsung eating their lunch. And Samsung's taken... I bet they must have taken such a vast majority of the money, when it comes to Android, because everyone just buys Samsung devices because they're widely regarded as the best ones, and and they're the ones that are most sort of comparable to the iPhone. So it'd be interesting to see if Google now pivots and changes these Nexus, formerly known as Nexus, but now the Pixel phones into more luxury range rather than before they were just cheap, which is great, but also just sort of plasticky devices that weren't up to the sort of standard of, say, Samsung or Apple. It'd be interesting to see if they do that.
I sometimes wonder like how many people that like buy like Galaxy phones or whatever even know that it is like Android, that it's like it is powered by Google, if you know what I mean. Because when I lived in China, like I had loads of friends had like Android phones, but they had no idea that Google like put Android together. No idea at all.
Really?
Yeah, well, because the phones that come out of there, they strip out all the Google stuff anyway. And so they just had no idea that it was anything to do with Google.
It was just Samsung.
Yeah, and you just wonder, whether people even realise it.
Yeah. The other big thing about these Pixel phones is that these are going to be Google Daydream phones. Google Daydream is Google's VR proposition, and the other big rumor from this is that we're finally going to see the proper unveiling of Daydream VR and potentially an actual headset from them as well. So yeah, I think that's going to be great, because again, you can assume it's Daydream VR is going to be a headset which you put the Pixel phones into, but that there will also be other phones that are Daydream compatible or Daydream ready. Maybe they'll call them that. Who knows? So yeah, cause I've heard people say about his Daydream phones, which leads you to believe that whenever they announce this proper Daydream VR platform, it's not every phone is going to be able to do it. Only certain specific devices will be able to be put into this headset. Who knows? It's a bit confusing, obviously, right now because no one knows anything. But
what do you know about the Daydream platform? Because I know nothing about it at all. I mean, what kind of spec is it supposed to be? I mean, what's it sort of aiming for?
All I know is that it's basically it's gonna be like a sort of a Samsung Gear VR type thing. It's got an official name, and that's it. I guess the interesting thing is actually it's seeing what it's gonna be about, and actually is it seeing if it's gonna be up there with Galaxy Gear VR or it's gonna be better. Who knows?
The only other thing I'm wondering whether they're going to talk about a lot is like Allo came out recently.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
So Allo, I haven't tried it. So that's like the cross-platform messaging thing, right?
Yeah, it seems to be. I think it's going to be their replacement. Isn't it a replacement for like Hangouts or whatever? Or is that Duo?
I'm not sure because they announced Allo and Duo at the same time, and it's a bit confusing. I know Allo's out now and loads of people are using it, but I'm not sure. Isn't Duo their iMessage replacement or the iMessage competitor?
I don't know. I thought that was Allo because it's
okay.
I mean, from what I can see of it, I mean, it's See, I haven't tried it because it doesn't have a web interface and it doesn't have a desktop client either. So I can't really see why I'd use this over any of the other messaging apps that I've already got and that all my friends are already on. there's already there's just so
Yeah.
many apps you can use to message people now. Why do I really need another one? Especially when it doesn't seem to be offering anything dramatically new. Apart from it does have all like the bots and stuff, so you can ask it questions and stuff.
Yeah, okay. So I've just checked. Yeah, so Google Duo is a FaceTime, is a video calling app, and then Allo is basically the iMessage style app. But I am going to assume that Google Allo is also the thing that is going to take over Hangouts, because it feels like it's a much more powerful Hangouts type thing. So I presume, this is just, I presume anyone on Android will start using Allo. Right? I'm gonna guess.
I don't know. I don't know. You see, I don't know. I'd imagine. See, so many people are already sort of stuck with what they've already got. With like WhatsApp particularly, and like Facebook Messenger. Why do we need another app? For this.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, for me, I don't really use iMessage at all, really, which is a shame because obviously there's loads of new features now. But I'm primarily using WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. Really, those are the two big ones. I barely use iMessage at all these days in comparison.
So it's weird because I think it depends like on who like your friends have got, because I use iMessage constantly because like everybody I know is like using it. So yeah,
I guess
I only use WhatsApp to talk with you and Dave. It's like nobody else hardly at all. It's
Oh, weird. Well, anyway, so this thing on the 4th of October is going to be really interesting. So we'll definitely cover all the announcements from the October 4th presentation. I'm hoping there's some more surprises, but even if they just announce and show off a bit more information about the things we mentioned today, I think that's still be really, really interesting and arguably more interesting than, say, the last Apple event. So we'll be back next week to talk about all those announcements. You can contact us on Twitter. We are at InterfacePod on Twitter. You can email the show, interfacepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for us on there and you'll find us. Thanks a lot, James.
No problem.
And we'll see everyone else next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.